I'm Mary and I'm here with Lee today.
Hello.
So, we have some interesting leaks that have come from Reddit, and they are legit, people. Spoiler alert, they are legit.
It came from Reddit, but it was actually legit.
For once. But yeah, if anyone remembers back to when we did that episode on those filming locations that had been leaked, you all remember John Boyega and Oscar Isaac were seen filming in costume. If you look at these leaks, you can tell they're legit, because not only does it show Oscar Isaac in that gorgeous Nathan Drake looking costume, but it also shows that Kylo Ren red crystal helmet. Yes, people, that person who reported this on Reddit, he was legit, so props to him.
Yeah. That made me go back to read the entirety of the leak that he put out, or she, we don't know if it's a chick. Yeah, there's things about it that I'm excited about, and then there's other things I was like, oh, really? I hope he misunderstood, because I don't want, like, the big confrontation to be at the end of the movie, you know, kind of thing. But we'll get more into that.
Yeah, we will. So, Lee, about the concept art itself, should we go through A to Q? What was your impressions of them? Who stood out to you the most?
Rey, obviously. Actually, Rey and Kylo, they come as a set. It's like salt and pepper, right? So Rey and Kylo, Rey dressed all in white. The first thing I thought when I saw her was she looks like a bride, you know?
That's exactly what I thought.
And Kylo was striking to me also because it is pretty much like a mashup of his episode 7 and episode 8 outfits, where he's got now the cloak. And when you look at him, it's like more Darth Vader-y than ever. And I thought that was a really interesting choice. And I love that they're, you know, it's like more apparent than ever that they complement each other and that there's like a yin and yang element to their dynamic. She's dressed all in white, he's dressed all in black. But I love that the mask is back on, because like I said, I was never intimidated by that as a Reylo fan, because I think it's a really good sign that he's wearing the mask when he's the supreme leader, and that means the mask is going to come off at some point. And I think, you know, we can all speculate as to why he would take his mask off again, or for who he would do it. So yeah, so I'm pleased.
I love Rey's outfit. Oh my goodness, she looks incredible. You can see it even in the blurriness of the images. I especially love her boots, but that's just like a little fashion statement. I was kind of like slightly disappointed by her hair. I've heard rumors that it's the 3-bun style again, and I kind of hope it isn't, because, you know, the 3-bun hairstyle kind of like makes her go back, regresses her to that little girl who never left Jakku. But if it's the same as Kylo and that he's putting the mask back on to like hide his weaknesses as the supreme leader and kind of like ignore what happened in The Last Jedi, then maybe she's doing the same. You know, like kind of like as to protect themselves, they revert back to their like childlike original selves, and then as the movie goes on and they start to develop more, Kylo will shed the mask and the dark clothes, and Rey will shed the hair.
Exactly. I had not heard that about the 3-bun hairstyle making a comeback. I heard something like it would be the same hair as in TLJ, but that actually makes sense. And as you can see here, her hair is drawn back. We don't know if it's a 3-bun, but it does not look like it's loose. I don't mind either way, because I know that just like with Kylo and the mask, like you said, eventually the hair is going to be let loose again. And for people who haven't been following our discussion about this, it is important, because the hair being loose symbolizes that she's become a woman, essentially. So, like we saw with Padme, right?
Yeah, and especially in The Last Jedi, when she had her hair down, it was due to her exploring her sexuality, and like when she fell down that hole in the cave, and, you know, her hair kind of like came loose, and that was her transitioning into a woman. So I really hope that the long hair comes back within the movie, and I hope it will. It would look kind of like gorgeous with that outfit. It will kind of look more bridal-like, I think, with the hair being long.
One other thing that was striking to me about the image is that it looks more like aside from the fact that it could double as a bridal gown, there's something about it that's less protected, more feminine, and it looks like the robes of a master, basically. So it looks like whatever else is going on when she's wearing this outfit, it looks more like she's going to be using the Force to fight or to communicate or whatever it is. I don't foresee her like bouncing around, rolling around in the dirt and the sand with this outfit, right?
No, definitely not. I was just about to say, will she be one of those, you know, like Hollywood heroines, kind of like, you know, the good-looking babes, kind of like the chick in Transformers 3, you know, where she's wearing that beautiful white blouse, and then there's robots smashing each other and buildings being destroyed around her, and she's still got that lovely white top on, like completely free of dirt and grime. I hope that doesn't happen, but, you know.
Right. So what I think when I see this is that, you know, if she is going to fight later on, she's going to have an outfit change for sure. But this is more like the meditation outfit or the diplomacy outfit or the fighting with the Force outfit rather than the I'm rolling around, I'm climbing, I'm scavenging, and all this stuff. I don't know. I was surprised when I saw it, but it makes perfect sense.
I'm gonna go and like include my headcanon. It's the offering outfit to the Supreme Leader. Okay, I'll stick to fanfiction on that, but yeah. So I have to admit though, I was kind of disappointed by Kylo's outfit. I mean, okay, it's cool that the helmet's back. I would have liked it if it wasn't back, but at the same time, I understand why it's back, even though I prefer getting to know the character underneath. But I'm not too sure about his outfit. I love the hood, but I wish they'd come up with a new outfit for Kylo. That outfit is getting pretty boring now, in my opinion.
Yeah. I've never liked that outfit, to be honest with you, the TLJ Kylo outfit, because it just looks kind of like a little nighty. I don't know. He looks great and everything, but it's not my favorite outfit. I really preferred the man gown, or I would prefer if that tunic was gone entirely. But I think this is like a temporary outfit. I don't think that this is going to be it. I think probably he will shed, some layers eventually, and the mask, obviously. But I'm happy with it because it does it's more Darth Vader-y than ever. Let me put it that way. Right? I think it's a really good sign because, like I said before, I'd be more concerned if Ben Solo felt comfortable doing bad things and playing the part of Kylo Ren without needing the mask. The mask allows him to get into character, basically. So he's like cosplaying Darth Vader. And the fact that he needs to do this in order to kind of psych himself into this role, for me, is really important and speaks a lot to his redeemability. And also, from a story standpoint, and this is something I've learned talking to Denise, you really need to externalize an action to give people those visual cues. Otherwise, it's all happening in an internal way that is not really as satisfying and also is difficult to convey. So removing the mask will help serve as an external cue that he is transitioning from the Kylo Ren persona into a more true version of himself, which is Ben Solo seeking redemption. So I'm really excited about that. And also, again, channeling Denise, like she pointed out, I mean, Adam Driver is such a great actor that it's not a waste to have him covered up, even though, his eyes, I think, are his most effective means of communicating, more so than anything else for me anyway. But he still is such a strong actor that you can still get so much enjoyment out of his performance just by observing his body language. It's how he uses everything at his disposal to communicate, what's going on with Kylo. So I'm sort of looking forward to that part of it. And it'll be all the more satisfying when the mask does come off at last.
I will say, just listening to you, that this just came up now. It does remind me, Rey kind of looks a bit like a princess, like one of those beautiful young princesses from fairy tales, like all virginal and white and pure, while Kylo kind of looks like the Black Knight, prince under a curse. So again, JJ said it in his TFA commentary, like he took inspiration from fairy tales, with Cinderella and the castle, and there's even, we've discussed before, Beauty and the Beast elements in Reylo's dynamic, so this is what it reminds me of. So I think with these costumes, they're also continuing that theme.
Yeah, definitely. And the main thing is when you see them, that they come as a set. What about the mask? It looks really cool.
I think it will be cool to see, like the cracks within it, and maybe as the movie goes on, maybe the cracks start to get more and more bigger and exposed.
I think it's a beautiful symbolism of him trying to keep it together and not being ready to reveal who he really is and still trying to hide behind this artifice. But the facade is crumbling.
He's still trying to hide Ben Solo.
Yep, but not for long. Not when he's confronted with Rey, I don't think so. Yeah, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, and don't forget Uncle Luke Force ghost trolling. That's gonna be. If they don't have that, I will be upset. Make it happen, JJ. So, if you look at C, that might be Richard E. Grant as a First Order officer, and I think everybody pretty much predicted this, but we also predicted it in our episode 9 casting call episode. What do you think, Lee?
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see him. I'm kind of a little tiny bit disappointed that he's not Thrawn, because that's what I was hoping. But I think it's pretty much aligns with what we had been expecting.
Yeah, I was 100% convinced he would be a First Order officer. I am slightly disappointed that he's is one. I think it would have been interesting if he wasn't one. but at the same time, yeah, I can deal with it. The question is, do you have any theories on what this character could be?
Well, I guess the one that immediately comes to mind is that he's possibly the person who's gonna overthrow Hux or represent trouble for Hux, because Hux is highly incompetent and kind of dumb as of TLJ. So we can foresee that some of the other commanding officers in the First Order might tire of his incompetence and might do something about it.
Oh yeah, for sure, because if anyone goes and reads The Last Jedi novelization, there's plenty of viewpoints from characters like PV and Kennedy before he died. They absolutely despise Hux, and not only do they despise Hux, but they also despise the younger generation who joined the First Order. They feel like they have no respect for the Empire and no respect for, strategies. They just go in all guns blazing, and Hux clearly demonstrated that in The Last Jedi as a incompetent leader. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Richard E. Grant is this guy and PV defects to him and they totally throw out Hux, and maybe even Richard E. Grant conspires with Hux to kill Kylo as the Supreme Leader, and then Richard E. Grant turns on him and gives him up to Kylo. Kylo kills Hux, but then Richard E. Grant starts to conspire against Kylo.
So that he could eventually be one of the main villains.
Yeah. But I hope it kind of goes a little bit deeper in that, because in The Last Jedi novelization, the older generals kind of like long for the days of the Empire, and that's why they joined the First Order in the first place, to bring back the glory days of the Empire. So that might be Richard E. Grant's true goal.
Yeah, I have to admit, I wasn't familiar with Richard E. Grant from before. I didn't know his body of work. But based on what you and others have said, it sounds like this is a very impressive, high-caliber actor who would do a lot with a character. So I don't foresee that it'll be like a throwaway character.
No, you don't cast someone like Richard E. Grant to be a throwaway character. That's just, it's not good. It's not good.
Yeah. That would be kind of like Benicio del Toro all over again.
Yeah, and even like Max von Sydow in The Force Awakens, I think they just wanted a load of Game of Thrones actors in there.
Yeah, hopefully not to say that Lor San Tekka wasn't awesome in the 3 seconds that he was on screen, but when you have somebody of that caliber, hopefully you'll do more with them, right?
Yeah, exactly. In fact, this is just a little thing, but I wonder if Kerry Russell, I wonder if she's involved with Richard E. Grant's character at all. Maybe this is just pure speculation on my behalf, but maybe they're there's been so much speculation about the unknown regions and they keep cropping up in the expanded universe. Maybe Richard E. Grant and Kerry Russell join forces and want something in the unknown regions. Maybe it's to bring back Snoke, or maybe it's to resurrect Palpatine because they want the Empire back. We don't know. I will say, in the Darth Vader comics, Darth Vader was kind of tricked by this dude, and he opened this portal to try and bring Padme back from the dead, but of course, he didn't. What just happened was he saw visions of the past and visions of the future. So maybe Richard E. Grant and Kerry Russell's true goals is to bring back someone, and Rey and Kylo have to stop that by using the Force.
Do you know these portals keep popping up? We actually saw them in Rebels. Spoiler alert, Ezra Bridger found himself in this temple where you could jump into any timeline, basically, and he could hear Kylo and Rey actually speaking, and, he could hear things from the past and from the future. So, and we've heard of Ezra Bridger's name coming up in speculation. So I wonder if it's all connected somehow. That'd be awesome if it were. I'm a Rebels fan. The other thing is, a really interesting article came out, and I'll link you guys in the description, but it's by Thomas Bacon over at ScreenRant, and it's nothing new that we haven't considered before. When I say we, I mean in general the Reylo fandom, that Kylo and Rey are obviously going to have to unite at some point in episode 9 to fight off a big threat, the big bad, and obviously it would be a Force big bad. I've never been impressed with Hux, even though I know people say, oh, he was just, it's a decoy in TLJ so that he can then be the big bad in 9. For me, that would be tremendously boring. I want to Force big bad, and I think that the idea of somebody coming from the unknown regions, that has been introduced going back to the comics, and Palpatine was obsessed with the unknown regions because he was sensing something there. So that is something that can be explored more. We thought that was going to be Snoke, actually, but obviously not. So whoever it is might be coming from there, and I think that's a really nice kind of tie-in. If it turns out that somebody from the First Order is also working with the big bad Force person, or that, who knows, knows? Maybe Snoke set up provisions for if he died. So it's interesting to think about that possibility.
Yeah, as long as it isn't like a possessed Kylo, then I'll be totally cool with Snoke coming back.
Tell me about it.
I will say, though, it is a kind of like shame that Hux was so incompetently portrayed in The Last Jedi, because, I mean, Rian Johnson did expand on it a little bit, but there was also so much building up about how Kylo and Hux are kind of like these rival brothers vying for Snoke's attention, and then once the father is gone and the two sons are left vying for power, it would have been really interesting if that was explored more in episode 9, but obviously with the way Rian Johnson unfortunately betrayed Hux, even though he did show the hatred Hux has for him and the fact that he tried to kill him, yeah, he was a little bit of a joke in that movie.
Yeah, and I think it's mostly unfortunate because of the actor and his portrayal being so awesome in The Force Awakens, whereas in episode 8 it's just a little bit, kind of over the top to me. And
the waste of what could have been with Hux's character. I think if he could have really been... He's a nasty villain. If you read the Phasma novel, he is horrible.
He was basically turned into a character of himself in episode 8.
Yeah, and it's a shame because he could have been. I think he really could have been a competent threat to Kylo in episode 9, but obviously that's not going to be the case. And I think I cannot remember for the life of me if this was debunked or not, but there was a rumor on Reddit a little while ago where Hux was captured by Dominic Monaghan's resistance group. So obviously it's not going to turn out good for him. I think he's going to be killed pretty early on. He might be usurped by Richard E. Grant and maybe fed to Dominic Monaghan's resistance group to be killed.
So speaking of Dominic Monaghan, we actually get to see what appears to be Dominic Monaghan's costume in E. So it does look like he's a resistance fighter, but you said, Mary, earlier that you thought maybe he wasn't going to end up not being a good guy?
Yeah, me and Lee were talking like off screen before we started recording. I think Dominic Monaghan is going to be like a member of the resistance, but he is going to be basically kind of like what Poe was in the Last Jedi, at the ends justify the means kind of guy. Personally, I liked the way Rian Johnson portrayed Poe as this. I think it was a really interesting turn for him to take that character down, but obviously there were a lot of people upset about this. A lot of people didn't like it, especially after his portrayal in The Force Awakens as this, happy, charming kind of like pilot guy. So for me personally, Dominic Monaghan was cast pretty late in the game. I have a feeling that JJ wanted to take Poe down this route, but was afraid of the backlash that might happen if he did. So I think he created Dominic Monaghan's character as a stand-in for this Poe and is returning Poe back to his The Force Awakens character.
I've been saying this from the beginning. I think that Rey needs to become disillusioned with the Resistance at some point and leave, or see at least that they're not perfect, that, the good guys aren't 100% good, the bad guys aren't necessarily 100% bad. We're looking for balance here. So I think a character like what you're describing from Dominic would be ideal for her to see that people fighting for a good cause sometimes do messed up stuff, and that the ends justify any means mentality is something that she would find repulsive and kind of a big wake-up call.
I did want that to be Poe, because to me it kind of like really hinted at it, that Poe was going to be that character with the meeting at the end of the Last Jedi, and Poe completely butchering Holdo's line about I can't remember exactly. We are the spark that will, give hope to the galaxy.
Blah,
or blah,
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 yeah.
whatever it was. But, but I really think that JJ was afraid of the fan reaction to this Poe. Maybe Poe might side with Dominic Monaghan, just to see, so we can see a little bit of that Poe, and also Finn, who we sadly don't get to see in these leaks. Maybe Finn will be in the middle and then go on to Rey's side, and Poe follows him after seeing how bad Dominic Monaghan is. Anyone else? We see Lando there. I don't know whether this is just like a throwback to how he looked in The Empire Strikes Back, or I'm not too sure what to think. I've heard rumors, again, from the same guy on Reddit, I think it was, that Lando didn't really feature much in it. It's kind of like a Maz Kanata character, so maybe this outfit is just like a nice throwback to fans of the original trilogy.
Totally fine with that, as long as they don't kill him. I'm just concerned every time I see somebody from the OT show up. It's like a death sentence. Hopefully they'll let him live.
No, I agree. I'm still holding out hope, though, that Naomi Aki might be his granddaughter, and he sends her, and she'll be a love interest for Poe. Yay.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm totally on board with that. That'd be a nice way to tie in everything else.
Yeah. And then apparently BB-8 gets a new sidekick, Picture B. It's kind of like that little droid thing. it looks like I think it's maybe like a little thing to Pixar. It kind of looks like that Pixar lantern that jumps on the eye every time, so I don't know whether that was inspired by that, but apparently it's meant to be BB-8's new sidekick, and BB-8 is annoyed by it.
Do you know, I think of BB-8 the same way I think about Oreo cookies. Oreo cookies are perfect the way they are. Whenever they try to change something to improve it, it actually makes it be less amazing. So like, you know, the double stuffed Oreos are just not as good as the original. Whatever they do to change it, it's just not as good as the first time. But whatever. The main thing that interests me about the droid in B is that he was described in the Reddit leaks. So that tells you that those leaks are legit.
And what does it say in the leaks, Lee?
There's a new droid. Its name is either Dio or Dio. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. And it's sort of a sidekick to BB-8. It has sort of a cone-shaped head, kind of like a megaphone shape, if you can picture it. So this was part of the leak that came out on Reddit 2 months ago. This person also talked about Kylo's helmet, and we talked about that before with the red adhesive, and it looks cool with red lines going through it. The person also mentioned episode 9 takes place a year after TLJ,
which I'm very excited about, because a lot of people were saying that it would take place 3 years after. I'm like, come on guys, just no.
Or 5 years after.
No way. No. It was always going to be like 6 months to a year.
Exactly. And the culmination of the movie will be a battle between Rey and Kylo. This is the part that I kind of take issue with. I don't believe that's true. I mean, I don't know either way, but it just doesn't sound likely. I think what they meant was maybe that was going to be like the high point of the movie as far as like culmination of, you know, the anticipation or whatever, but I don't see it as like at the end of the movie because it just doesn't make sense, you know?
No, I think you're right. I think the highlight, there is probably like maybe a battle between Rey and Kylo, and Kylo kicks her ass this time because Kylo needs to kick her ass. She needs to have a bit of a wake-up call that she's not as strong as she thinks she is. And, but I don't know, maybe he realizes that, you know, the First Order and power isn't what he wants her, and this culmination is either that or this supposed fight between Rey and Kylo at the end is the battle with the two of them versus the big bad.
Exactly. Kylo needs to kick her butt because she can't always come out on top. They're supposed to be equal in the Force, and she's won every single time that they've confronted each other. So things have to balance out, in my opinion, and that'll be good for both of them. So yeah, and also, you know, I don't think that they were going to give away the ending of the movie in some marketing meeting. So I just don't believe it. I think the person either misspoke or misunderstood, or they just outright didn't tell it like it is in the meeting.
You know what? When Deathly Hallows, the book, was coming out, there was a documentary called A Year with J.K. Rowling, and they the filmmaker who followed her around for a year documenting her life was in a publishing meeting with her, with Bloomsbury. And he said quite specifically that everyone in that room, everyone in there, all the employees in there, they all knew the book, they all knew how it would end, but they were all forbidden to reveal anything about the book, including to each other. So I reckon that might be the case with Disney, with you know, all the writers and the Disney executives. They all know what's going to happen, but they're absolutely forbidden to tell everyone.
Mm-hmm. This meeting, it was like a Star Wars marketing presentation by Disney. This is what the person says. I think that, you know, you can take this leaker pretty seriously because all these things line up with what he's already said. They also mentioned that Rey's lightsaber, which is really Anakin's lightsaber, you know, but now they're calling it Rey's lightsaber, is going to be reforged, and that happens off screen. So I had read leaks or speculation that Anakin was going to show up and he was going to appear to Rey, not to Kylo, to Rey, to show her how to reforge the lightsaber. Like, seriously, nothing would make me happier. Like, aside from Reylo, nothing would make me happier than having Anakin in episode 9. Doing whatever it is, as long as he's there. Even if it's a picture of him or a poster or whatever. I don't care. I want Anakin in episode 9, but he's my favorite character in Star Wars. But I do not think that he's going to show up just to visit Rey. Like, if he shows up to anybody, it's going to be to Ben Solo or Leia.
Rey's nothing to him. He will actually appear to his grandson. Yeah, come on, guys. I think, like, the rest of them, like, from the soldiers to the creatures, are kind of like random creatures that we will see in the backgrounds of the movie. I don't think they're relevant to the plot in any way.
I agree. The last thing I'll say is, I mean, I always suspect when leaks come out that it's actually planned by Lucasfilm. I don't believe for a second that anyone involved with the production is going to risk their job and their reputation and their entire career to leak some stuff to random people on Reddit. I think that these leaks are fully sanctioned by Lucasfilm. So it tells you a lot that some things are included, like Rey and Kylo's look, and then other things are not. And that's pretty interesting. Like, there's people missing here.
Finn is missing. Rose is missing.
Kerry Russell's character is in there. And also, I mean, it doesn't tell you much of anything else. Just that his mask is back. Rey's dressed like a bride. I mean, these are not surprising things, I guess. I guess there's nothing really earth-shattering here, right? But it does look really nice. And it kind of aligns with what we've been expecting anyway.
Yeah, for sure. And I will just mention to anyone who doubts Darth Lee here, just go back to May 2016. Adam Driver, Daisy Ridley and Mark Hamill were seen spotted in Ireland travelling to the Acto set. That was fully sanctioned by Disney. And I don't think this is a coincidence. It came out the same day that John Boyega debunked Finn Rey and totally, talked about Finn Rose in an interview with Variety. So yeah, Lee, I totally agree with you. This is all planned by the mouse.
Stage 1 of episode 9 marketing. So it's pretty interesting that they want us to know these things, huh?
It is.
Well, the other, like a tiny bit about speculation about the title. Somebody was saying that the title is The Balance of the Force. I think it's great if it's that. I don't know if we can give much credence to that, but also that would be not unexpected in the least.
Yeah, and me and Lee were talking about this before we started recording, but Lee, I just want to say, as you so beautifully put it before, if anyone is worried about the mask coming back for Kylo, and I have to admit I was worried, and Lee totally soothed these worries, just look at Kylo's long, beautiful hair. That mask is totally coming off.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but that kind of hair, it doesn't just happen. That kind of hair is taken care of. It's, nourished so that it can grow and flow boldly and luxuriously, like Mark Hamill put it. So if they're putting that much effort into Adam Driver's gorgeous hair and he's not cutting it and he's filming, and he was until recently at least, we know that that hair is going to make an appearance. Rey is going to be running her fingers through that hair in no time. Again, I'm not worried at all. I think it's great actually for his arc. So I'm pretty excited.
Yeah. One quick thing I wanted to mention about Rey again. If she does have the 3-bun hairstyle back. Now, I know you're going to hate this, Lee, but it could be a reference to the fact that she might go back to Jakku to kind of like confront that childhood trauma, if Kylo is right, about her parents abandoning her. And like when after she comes off Jakku and has sort of like a realization, hopefully, which is, really it's essential to her character arc, that, she's fully accepted that her parents were never going to come back to her. She takes her hair down. She no longer has anything to hold back from her childhood.
Why does everybody keep trying to go back to Jakku? I mean, that'd be okay. I don't actually think that her parents abandoned her in Jakku for drinking money, but, we'll see.
We will see. I don't know. But I just think it would be like more of a poetic thing, because Luke left Tatooine as a boy, returned to his home as a man, and Anakin did the same thing, and I want Rey to do the same thing, just as a little, hero's journey thing.
I mean, I guess, yeah.
Come on, Lee. Right? Okay. Anything else you want to say?
No, I think we covered everything.
All right, so thank you for listening, guys. Let us know your thoughts about these lovely leaked photos and your theories about the characters in the comment section. If you liked it, please subscribe. It helps us a lot. And you can follow us on Twitter, Tumblr, Mixcloud, SoundCloud, and Instagram. Thank you very much for listening, and may the Force serve you well.